East Vancouver is known for its vibrant neighborhoods, diverse culture, and now its burgeoning beer scene. So we made our way to Strange Fellows Brewing, and here we met with Carly, the mastermind behind the unique and bold flavors that define Strange Fellows.
I've been here for 4 years now.
4 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And your role?
And I am the head brewer and production manager of the brewery.
How did you get started in this? Now, how long have you been?
I've been in the industry for about 10 years.
Okay.
Worked for a handful of different breweries over the years, and I started with a passion for baking and fermentation. So that's kind of where my love started. And then at the time craft beer was starting to boom, I thought it was super cool and interesting, and kind of a similar vibe to baking is like you're making a product from scratch and you get to see people enjoy it, and that was super intriguing to me. So I did some courses around beer, and then I kind of just threw myself right in and kind of worked my way from the ground up, and kind of found the right people to apprentice under.
Nice. Did you start making your own beer at first?
Yeah, I started home brewing and like brewing at home and experimenting.
That's cool. Or what separates that? What are the specialties that you guys have?
Strange Fellows has been around for a while. We like to pride ourselves on making like very drinkable beers. With a little bit of a flair. Beers that are approachable to everyone, and we also have quite an extensive barrel program as well, so we're making a little bit more special beers that take a little bit longer. We use some of these barrels that you can see in the back here. Strange Fellows is known for a beer called Talisman. It's our pale ale. It's very easy drinking. It's 4%. It's a beer that you'd find at a lot of bars around the city. So definitely our distinguishing beer. Everyone knows Talisman.
Nice. And that started here in East Van? Is it here?
Here.
Exactly. Oh, wow. Okay, nice. And I guess when did Strange Fellows start?
Oh, that's a good question. I think actually this December is our 10th year anniversary.
No kidding.
Yeah. So 10 years is a pretty big milestone.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know the question or the answer to this one, but the name of Strange Fellows, where did that come from? Do you
that
know,
would be a
question
for
Ian.
Ian, but I believe the story kind of comes from like Aaron and Ian, the two owners here. They are an odd couple, an odd matchup, and I think just over beers they kind of were like, what about Strange Fellows? Because we're kind of two strange dudes. So I think that's sort of.
I like it. I mean, and I guess would you mind giving us a tour of the back and like how everything gets going?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Thank you for that.
So this is our mill. This is where the brewing process starts. So we take grain and we crush it. And then it travels up this tube here and into this first vessel here. This is called the mash tun. Grain gets mixed with water in this tank here at a certain temperature to convert starches into sugars. And then it's transferred into that one, and that's our brew kettle. So that's where we boil the beer. At that point, you can add hops.
I'm kind of curious, just on the side, like because you started home brewing, you took, what, 4 years of courses, you said? Or how long?
It was over time, like just here and there. I was also working in breweries at the same time. But yeah, I started brewing at home
How did that transition from like home brewing into like coming into here? How was that? Because it's a much larger scale.
The bases are the same, but yeah, it's definitely a change coming up to a big scale like this. It's like a lot of volume that you're working with, so you want to make sure everything is really on point. And
that's what I was curious about too. So I mean, you mentioned a lot of volume. How much you guys produce a day, or how do you measure that?
This system here is 30 hex, so that's 3,000 liters. So that's how much beer we brew on one brew, and typically we brew 2 brews a day. So 6,000 liters a day. And then, so we have, once the beer is finished brewing, so this here is about an 8-hour process. And then the sugary liquid is transferred from here and then into these conical tanks at the bottom there. This is where the beer ferments. So we add yeast at this point, and then the yeast metabolizes all those sugars and creates alcohol. So that's where it ferments, and in the fermenter it would stay there for anywhere from a week to 2 weeks.
Wow,
from these tanks, it's transferred into these like kind of long horizontal ones. Those are called conditioning tanks. You wouldn't see these tanks in every brewery.
Yeah.
And that's something that's a little bit unique to Strange Fellows. The beer sits and ages in those tanks. It helps with like clarity. They're actually like traditionally used a lot in Germany for making lagers.
Okay.
So it's like a holding tank where all the flavors can kind of meld and come together.
Yeah. So after 1 to 2
here,
weeks of there, it will get
and then
stored in
it'll
here
go
for.
in there. So like our typical ales will be in there for about a week as well.
So it's about a
And
month for this whole process, it sounds like?
The
or just a-
fastest it could be is 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then one of our beers that we make here, our lager, is an 8-week process.
And then from there?
From there, our beer at that point is almost finished. So then we transfer it downstairs to our packaging area, which we can go take a look at.
Do you guys do any tasting in the middle of?
Yeah, we
just to
kind of monitor
test
the
quality?
beer
Yeah.
all the way along. Like we're usually checking it every day to make sure everything is where we want it to be.
Okay.
In these tanks, we also do something called dry hopping, where we add more hops to it.
In
And
these tanks?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow,
we
okay.
can also, the flavor is changing as we go along. And then this is kind of where everyone's working today. So
Yeah.
we can
I
go
can see.
check it out. And this is a big talisman day, as you can see.
Oh, I see, okay.
We're doing it in kegs.
And you said that's your most popular one, right?
Yeah. So we package a lot of talisman. From those horizontal tanks, they go into these tanks down here. This is a bright tank, so the beer's carbonated there.
Oh, I see.
And then these are like what we package off of. So all the beer going to our canning line right there is coming from there.
Yeah, I saw that. That's amazing.
It's canned, goes through this machine here and goes into a carton, and then straight out the back onto the trucks.
So the distribution of this, you guys
Yes.
distribute Vancouver, but where else do you guys distribute?
We are all over BC.
BC, okay. All over Canada as well too?
Not
or
over
mainly BC?
Canada. We like to keep it close to home.
Yeah.
Craft beer is something that like obviously has a shelf life. It tastes best fresh, so
Yeah.
we like to keep it close to home so we can make sure it's to
Yeah.
our standards.
Okay. And I'm assuming none to United States?
No,
Okay.
not at this point anyways.
We'll have to pack some to go then.
Exactly, totally.
So I guess the barrels, I don't know if we hit on that yet. When does it go into the barrels? After this stage?
Yeah, so we usually do like a primary fermentation in one of these types of tanks, and then we transfer it to barrels. It stays there usually at least a year,
Oh, wow.
so it's definitely a labor of love.
Yeah, yeah. And do you guys reuse barrels? Or,
We
'cause
do
I know,
reuse
you do, okay.
barrels.
I know there's some that like only uses it once and they can't.
Yeah,
use it
no, we
again.
actually like reusing barrels is quite cool. We have gotten barrels from like different wineries or distilleries, and then as you age beer in there, it kind of picks up flavors from those things that
That's
were
what I
in
was
it
curious about
previously.
too. You know, if you hit on specific wineries or anything
Yeah, we
to get
like
those notes from.
Yeah, BC has like an awesome wine,
Okay.
so we have a lot of like up interior in the Okanagan. There's tons of wineries up there, and we've actually started making wine ourselves. So
Yeah.
we have some wine going
Awesome.
and cider as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for giving us the little behind the scenes
Yeah, totally.
of everything and answering our questions for us. But
Yeah.
we're definitely going to stick around for when you guys open and
Yeah,
get a
check out
couple
the
beers
tasting
if that's
room.
fine.
Yeah.
As soon as we finished up the brewery tour, Carly and I stopped at the bar area to sample their signature pale ale, the Talisman. So do you get to drink on the job? Yeah.
Part of the job. You gotta try
That's
it,
all I was
you
curious.
know?
I was like, oh, maybe she'll drink on that. I don't know if they can drink on the job, so we'll see.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah?
Sometimes it's not as.
Every break?
To like tasting beer, like there is to tasting wine. I never actually thought about it, but for some reason I just thought, is there?
Yeah, kind of. It's like it's a bit different than wine. Like you definitely don't spit it out. Wine is
Yeah.
sensible. You want to like take a good big like mouthful.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
as a brewmaster,
Yeah,
so
I don't know. Like I always like give it a smell. Like
Yeah.
a big part of beer is like
Yeah.
the aroma. So like on this beer, you can smell like definitely like some fruitiness. Like the
Mm-hmm.
hops are definitely coming through, and then. Yeah, on the flavor, like there's definitely like some fruity notes.
yeah.
It's a little bit bitter. It's quite like
very drinkable. It's
very drinkable. It's
yeah.
still like very flavorful for a beer that's 4%.
Yeah.
This is definitely a brewer's beer, like something
This is
that
nice. It's
you
very
can-
crisp. It's like, I mean, in LA, I would drink this all the time just because it's like so hot and everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Just
totally.
like after a
It's
long day or something like that.
Thirst quenching beer for sure.
Yeah, this is a dangerous one though. 'Cause
Yeah,
I feel like
so this
you
is-
can have a few of these and and then realize later that you're in
You're
it.
in.
So, yeah, you're in it. Oh, good. Oh,
A
good.
bit early. Yeah. So
And
like
this is your most.
this is
Talisman.
Talisman. Yeah. So this is the one that you'd probably, if you went up to Commercial Drive, you would find it at most bars on that around.
Yeah. This
It's
is
like
delicious.
definitely a well-known beer.
Okay.
It's like if you see a list of things, like you always know what you're gonna get with Talisman. It's
Yeah.
like I think that's something we pride ourselves on at Strange Fellows is like it's consistent, it's quality, you know what you're gonna get and
Yeah.
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
There was a point when craft beer was getting super big and exploding and everyone was into like the high percentage, like crazy experimental stuff. And now it seems to kind of be coming back to more traditional things like lagers and people want like
Yeah.
crisp and drinkability and
That's good. This is
yeah.
delicious, by the way.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers for
Cheers.
that. Cheers.